It's opening the application. Okay, this is the yesterday's application. So the program class is containing main method. Through this method, we are calling other classes methods. First one is a call menu, which is part of the menu handler. We have written a class called as menu handler. From there, we are calling the call menu. So whenever choice is one, we add category. Otherwise, choice two and choice three still we have to take. So choice three for this, not choice three. Choice three we have handled it. But as far as choice two is concerned, we don't have anything. Now when we start executing it, it displays like this: insert data, display data, exit. In the case of display data, nothing happens right now. It displays menu like this only, but when you type 3, it exits. So here I have written a menu called as a class called as DB operations for category. But this particular category table we are performing here app operations. We call it as add category. With the help of add category, trying to add here categories. Okay, so this is basically a method with the help of this category can be added. This is a method with which we are trying to add category. Next method should be here, retrieve the data. We need to retrieve data and we have to render it. We have to retrieve data. So from category table, we should be retrieving, then we have to render it. And one more important point here, I am specifying here connection string. Look at this. This is here a connection string we have here. This is what exactly hard coded. Hard code in the sense only in this computer it can work. Suppose I made this application and I shipped it to the customer. So when customer is trying to open, tries to get connected with this particular server, Alladi-PC SQL Express 2008. But in the client's place, the server name different and database name also is going to be different. So in such cases, the customer cannot use here the project or this application. This application customer cannot use. So this should be configurable. Whatever item you keep here, this should be configurable. This should be coming through the some XML file called as application.configuration file. Through that it should come. It cannot be kept like this here. So that must be configurable. So whenever you go to the end user should be in a position to configure it if required. So this is exactly what server Alladi-PC SQL Express 2008. This is what my system server name. If you take your computer, your server name is different. Your database name also probably different. So in such cases, this code cannot work. If I send you this code as it is, this can't work. So therefore, we need to configure this particular thing. Getting here my point, Muhammad. You understood this point here? Whenever I specify connection, I am specifying here a connection string. So connection string is what? The connection string is here hard coded. Hard code in the sense this can be working only with this particular server, because here server equal to already-pc have taken, then express 2008 I kept. So this cannot be working. Therefore, this should be configurable. Mansoor, you understood this point?
Oh yes, I got it.
So you should
This
be
is hard coded.
configurable.
You just write down the server name.
Yes, I'm hard
Yeah.
coding it. It should not be like this. Whatever server name I specified, it should be in some configuration file, which should be XML file. So .NET supports configuration files. In the case of Windows application or a console application, it's called an app config file. And when you work with a web application, it's called as web config file. There are going to be two different configuration files. One is called as here app config file, app.config file. And in the case of web application, it is here web config file. Like this, we have here two configuration files. With the help of that, you can configure, server side resources. To configure server side resources, we can use app config or web config. In the case of desktop application, we use app config. If it is web application, we use in that case web config file. When you develop console application or a Windows based application, use app config file. And when you want to develop a web application at the time, use web config file. So let us create here configuration file. Therefore, this is right now hard coded. This is not the right way. We have to, in fact, put this in some XML file called as app config file. Already it's available here. You can see. As soon as the project is created, automatically it got created for us. The file name is here what? App config file. You can open app config file here. You can configure it. Open the app config file. Then here you can specify the configuration. One of the things is here connection strings. One such section we have here. One of the sections is what? Connection strings. The configuration file contains various sections depending on the different types of resources. So this is here connection strings. We specify like this, and inside this I add a connection string. This is going to be key value pair. I put add followed by, first of all, the name is required. Name equal to, I put here dbcon. This is going to be the key of the connection string. This is dbcon, then followed by connection string. Whatever string I have to put, I have to specify here. This is equal to, try to specify here the server name. Whatever server name I kept here, the same I should be putting here. So in this is the name. I must put this string here. So like this, what happened here? I could create a connection string. This is nothing but connection string I created here. Add name equal to dbcon, connection string equal to server, connection string equal to server equal to. So whatever name I have here, I can put. I am going to put the database name like this. So first of all, server name followed by database name. This is the instance name, then database name. First thing is here physical server name. Every computer has some name. That one. This is what exactly SQL Server instance. When you find multiple instances of SQL Server, appropriate SQL Server instance you have to put there. So I kept here SQL Express 2008. Then database is what? Retailer billing DB, integrated security equal to true. So like this, it's kept here. In this way, I have kept. Okay. So in this manner, I have kept it. Now I need to call this from the code. From our code, we have to call it. In this class DB operation for category, I should be calling. So to access app config file, you need to use connection manager. We have to use here connection manager. For that purpose, did we add any reference or not? Let us see. No reference is added for that configuration. Therefore, right click on the references and here add reference. It is going to show a dialog box for references. From here now we need to choose system.configuration. We need to select it. Click on OK. Now system.configuration is available. Using here app config file, we can be retrieving it. Instead of using now this hard coded one, I can make like this configuration manager. Okay, it's not available straight away. Reason I haven't added at the top, include using, write it using system dot configuration. We put like this. System dot configuration we have kept here. Now here inside this we are going to call. Right here configuration manager. Here this this is configuration manager. Sorry. String this is string str con string connection or connection string is equal to here. We should retrieve from the application configuration file. So here it is configuration manager, put like this dot connection strings. One of the connections is here connection strings, followed by we should specify key there. dbcon is the key. Then after that put it as connection string. Like this we should be creating the connection string here. Now this strcon string we need to put in this area. So in this area we need to put. Therefore, in such cases, it can be getting connected with the client machine. Automatically with client system, it can be connected. But with one limitation, even in the client system, this database should be already created. In such case, it can work. Otherwise, it can't work because we haven't kept any code for creating the database from here. So database can be created from here, but this application is not having that provision right now. So even through your code also database can be created. But at present what happens, it's having an assumption that database is already created with the client. In such cases, it can be getting connected. With that limitation, this application can be working because we haven't added any code for creating database and through this application. Database we create separately, then after that with the help of this, we can access it. So there is no provision to create database from this application. Separately, we should go into SQL Server. There we have to create the required database. So this particular application is not having any provision to create the required SQL Server database. So therefore, already database must be present. In such cases, it can be working. Otherwise, it can't work. So like this, here we created a connection string. Then after that, we are trying to access with the help of the configuration manager. So in the configuration file, app config file, required connection string is created. With the help of this, you can actually start running with that now. So it is going to retrieve the connection string. Using that, you can establish a connection. Once connection is created, you can perform different operations here. So this is the add category method. With the help of that, we could add categories. Okay. Now next thing is here, we need to retrieve and we need to display here the existing categories. Existing categories we need to retrieve and we need to display here. So second option is what here for us, we need to retrieve and we have to show you. Here write public void, public static void. We write here display, retrieve and display categories. This method should be retrieving as well as displaying data for us. Okay, for retrieving, what class we can use? As far as ADO.NET is concerned, we have three classes. One is SQL connection. Other one is we have here SQL command. And one more thing, we have here SQL data reader. We have three classes associated to the ADO.NET here. With the help of these classes, we can perform database operations. Yesterday we saw how to use connection, how to use command. We create connection, then we invoke command to insert data into underlying database table. Okay. Similarly, now we use SQL data reader. This time we are going to use SQL data reader. With the help of that, we can be retrieving data. But this time, instead of using the inline SQL query, we can use a procedure. With the help of procedure, we can be retrieving data from the underlying table. Yesterday, what we saw, we have seen how to use a connection string. How to use a inline SQL query to insert data. Where is the query we have written? So if you come to this, here the query is insert into TBL category, category name, category level, supercat ID. Values we specified like this. Using string builder, SB. So with help of that, we could be adding here the inline SQL query. So by using inline SQL query, we inserted data into database table in this. But this time I don't want to use anything like that. I just want to use a procedure. With the help of procedure, it should be called. This is prone to, this particular kind of thing is prone to SQL injection. SQL injection is dangerous actually. Hackers or crackers, with the help of SQL injection, they can damage our database. So database can be damaged. They may drop tables, they may insert some unnecessary data, or they may delete data. If they know the database table, database structure, if they know, they can find out, they can do such kind of operations with the help of the, here, what operation this is? It is here, inline SQL query. With the help of that, such possibilities we have. Therefore, normally, when you develop web applications, we don't use inline SQL queries. Instead of using inline SQL queries, we can use the procedures. In such cases, we don't face these kind of problems. We don't face any SQL injection problems with the help of the stored procedures. And the code is also going to work more efficiently, because every time you send a query, it need not be compiled. So stored procedure is already compiled code, it's available to the server. Just you have to pass the data to the procedure, automatically it can be getting invoked. Only you need to pass the parameters or data. If procedure is following any parameters, if it's having any parameter, you need to follow parameters. Otherwise, without parameters also, we can call. So therefore, this is inline SQL query. With the help of this, we could do. Now, instead of that, what I do, I write a procedure. I am going to call the procedure. This is what inline SQL query I am using. So instead of using inline SQL query, I can write now a procedure. With the help of stored procedure, I can be retrieving data and I can be showing it. This is called as inline plain SQL query. So instead of this, now I can use a procedure. For that purpose, I go into database. Then here inside this, write a procedure. The database name is use retailer billing DB. Like this, we can set it. Use retailer billing DB, execute. After this, what we do, we retrieve data from the tables. First of all, see the data, what data is available for us here. Select star from TBL category. So using this command, I can be retrieving data. With displaying data like this. So 3 rows are available. 3 rows data is shown like this. Now instead of writing like this inline SQL queries, I can write a procedure. With the help of procedure, I can be retrieving the data. So right here, create procedure followed by procedure name USP, select or get categories it is. Get categories. This is going to be the procedure name as followed by begin, then here it is, and we put inside this, you can write select star from. So select star from, the name is what here, TBL category. We put like this. So this is going to be the procedure name. We just try to create them. Pause for the syntax here. You can click on this. So this is procedure is not created, but looking for the syntax there. Syntax is correct. Now we can execute this. When we execute, it is created now. Using procedure now, you can be retrieving data. Right here, exec, usb, get, categories. Using this, we can retrieve data now. So this procedure I just try to use now inside the code. Inside the code, I would like to use a procedure. It's a listing. Like this, I have created a procedure using exec procedure name. I can be retrieving data. So this is what exactly, this is a stored procedure I created. Very simple stored procedure I created that I am invoking here. So when I invoke, it's listing actually all the categories. So same procedure I want to use from the now C# code. From C# code, I am going to use it. So therefore here, retrieve and display categories. For this purpose, first of all, we need to have a connection, then followed by command is required. We come to this here. First of all, we need to retrieve the connection string from the configuration file. From the app config file, we need to retrieve the connection string. So for that purpose, we use configuration manager.connection strings. Automatically, configuration manager class is going to open the app config file. From there, from the connection strings section, you have a section called as connection strings. From there, it's going to retrieve the key dbcon and its value. Its value is retrieved here and put into strcon string. Into the strcon string, we have kept it. Next thing, here we created a connection object. Once we create connection object, we have to go with the command object also. Here write SQL command. Here object command, this is equal to new SQL command. Here we use new SQL command. Here we can specify the name of the command. Command name can be specified here. So what is the name of the command? Command name is going to be procedure here, stored procedure, that we need to specify here. USP categories is going to be the name of the procedure. We can put like this procedure name. Next, after that, this is not a text command, it's a procedure command. Therefore, with using object cmd dot, here it is command type we have. We have here command type equal to, it's the enumeration, command type dot. This is exactly stored procedure. We need to set like this. It's not text, it is a stored procedure. There are three possibilities. Entire table as it is you can use, or you can give inline SQL query, or you can use the procedure. So normally we use either text or procedure. In the case of text, in the insertion, how we have given the text command, in the same way we give. And here in this case, it's a procedure, just therefore we specify this as stored procedure. It is a stored procedure here, keep like this. Then after that we need to connect connection with the command here. Object cmd, then dot connection, keep here dot connection, this equal to object con. Like this we need to refer a connection. So what we have done in this, we created connection, we created command, then we are referring the connection, object cmd dot connection equal to object con. So this way command is linked with the connection. So once connection is open, you can execute the command. This is exactly what first configuration file. From configuration file we retrieved connection string, then created here a connection object. After that a command object we are creating. Command type we kept it as stored procedure. To invoke this command you require some connection. So connection is object con. With that we open connection. Then we can here now execute. So when you execute you are going to get data. Therefore declare here result set. SQL data reader we have here. SQL data reader, object reader, like this we take. This equal to here we have to get from the database there. We should be getting from the database. So without opening connection you cannot do. Therefore open connection. After that we can be retrieving it. So here write try block. There is a possibility of getting exception. We use try block. Then here catch block also we put. It is here exception ex, followed by here we put finally. In the finally we should be closing the connection. Always we have to close connection in the finally. Here write if condition, if object con dot state, state is one of the properties here, state equal to, this is connection state, dot open. If it's open, in such cases we close it. Otherwise, there is no question of closing anything. We need not close anything. Since connection is not open, we cannot close. So here take the close method. Like this, when connection is open, we can close it. Okay, that we are going to put in the finally block, because whenever you try to perform the selection, some kind of database operation, due to some reason it may be failing. So you can open connection, then you can go with the command there to perform the SQL operation there. So due to some reason, if it's failing, it's going to be what exactly? I mean, some kind of exception. Therefore, it comes to catch block. So in the try block at the end, if you try to close connection, what happens in the middle? If it's getting stopped, that means if it's failing with exception, it comes to catch block. In the catch block, appropriate message may be displayed. Then you come out for that. Therefore, in such cases, connection will not be getting closed. So to close connection, you require finally block. In that finally block, you can keep it always, because irrespective of the outcome, whether the code is successfully getting executed or failing, ultimately where it comes to the finally block. So therefore, in the finally block, handle the resource closing. So if you don't close resources, it is called as resource leak. Resource leak may be taking place. Therefore, try to put the resource closing mechanism in the finally block always. With the files, database connections, or with the network connections, all of them must be kept in the finally code block. So we have try block, we have catch block, and we have finally block. In the finally block, we close the connection. Now come to try. In the try, let us try to execute it. In the try block, we are going to execute it now. Here write first of all, object con.open. Without opening connection, we can't do anything. We need to open connection. So once connection is open, we can perform some operations there. So we need to open connection. So once connection is open, we can execute the command there. Here write this object reader equal to, we specify here, object reader equal to object cmd, this is command, dot here execute reader. We have one of the methods as execute reader. This can be returning a reader object for us. Once you get reader object, over the table you can iterate as long as there are records. So with the help of execute reader, we are retrieving the data from the database. So execute reader is going to give you reader object. Using reader object, we can be iterating over the data. So one by one row we can fetch. It is only forward scrolling. Reader object is going to be forward scrolling. So one by one over the row you can be iterating and you can retrieve data from that. So here write while object reader dot it is has rows. If it is having rows, in such cases we try to print it. If it's having rows, then try to retrieve one by one, try to perform here operation. Otherwise, even you can perform this kind of operation has rows. Put here object reader dot read. You can perform a read operation. Then once you read here, try to display data. We can display data like this: system dot, then out dot println. Sorry. Write it console dot write line. You put here console dot write line, and inside this we can put the table name 0. Sorry, column name 0. Then this is here it is 1, or else we can use tab space. Then this is going to be here 2. There are 2. I mean, how many columns are there? 4 columns are there. We try to use the 4th one like this. This way we are going to make it. We are trying to make this way here. So 0, 1, 2, 4. Sorry, 3 we need to use. Third column 0, 1, 2, 4. First thing is going to be category ID. This is object reader of, this is here 0, then dot to string. We put like this. We convert to string, put like this. Similarly, object reader of 1 dot to string. We can display like this. One more thing is going to be object reader here of 2 dot string. Here the last one is Here object reader of 3.2 string. Like this we can be displaying here the data. So this one is going to be retrieving data one by one. One by one it retrieves data. At the end of this we need to close. Object reader dot close. So once reader is closed, connection can be used by somebody else. Like this we can be closing connection here. With the help of this method, we can be retrieving data and we can be displaying it on the monitor. On the screen we can display. So as long as the reader has rows, we can iterate over the reader one by one. We can retrieve data and we can show it on the screen. Here it's containing 4 columns totally. If you look at this, it's containing 4 columns. One is what? Cat ID, cat name, cat level, and super cat ID. Since it's containing 4 columns, we retrieve 4 columns and we try to show it on the screen here. This is the method we have written, but this method must be called within the main main method. Whenever choice equal to 2, we need to set it. What is that exactly? DB operations for category, we have to call DB operations for category dot followed by retrieve and display categories. This method we are trying to invoke here. Okay, before this even we put once again console dot clear. They can be cleared. Console dot clear method we invoke. Like this we try to show it. Then after this write console dot write line /n, press any key to continue. Press enter key to continue. Like this we write this. Then after that console dot read line. So console dot read line. Now with the help of this we can be retrieving data and we display it on the screen. For retrieving data, this is the method. With this method we do public static void retrieve and display categories. It's retrieving categories as well as going to display. So here it's going to use USP get categories. This is the procedure name. Using procedure this time we are invoking. And type of command is what here? It's a stored procedure. It's not a text, it's a stored procedure. You can look at the previous one. In this, what I said, when you look at this here, SQL command, object command equal to SQL command. Here what we specified command type as text. Here command type is text. In the same way, we have opened a connection here. Object cmd.connection equal to object objcon. So connection we are attaching to command object here. So using the connection object, now command can be invoked. So same thing is happening here. Whenever you look at this retrieve and display categories, here we have a connection object as well as command object. So using here the connection object, what we do, we can be executing command. To execute a command, first of all you have to link connection with the command. Object cmd.connection equal to object one. Like this we assign a connection object to command object. Now using this connection, open connection, we can execute command. And command type is what here? It's a stored procedure. It's nothing but here stored procedure. In the previous example, it was text command, but now it is a stored procedure. Because here we have written a procedure. Create procedure, USP get categories as begin, select stop from TBL category end. So to execute a procedure, we require exec USP get categories. When you give command like this is called as inline SQL query, whereas this is what exactly calling a procedure. So calling procedure has many advantages over the inline SQL query. First of all, inline SQL query can make your network very busy, because whenever you invoke a command, SQL text command, it has to travel all the way from client to the server, then it has to be getting parsed there, so it is going to be overhead. In the case of stored procedure gets saved with the database only. So we don't send therefore entire command over the network. Already command is available with the SQL server, just we send the data. So data need not be parsed. Straight away data will be taken and will be inserted into appropriate table, or it can perform some other operations. So in the same that way we use the procedure. Procedure is more efficient and compared with the inline SQL query. So using this procedure, now we are going to retrieve data and render data. Let us come to this code block here and see I am retrieving 4 columns with this. This procedure is here written inside this select star from TBL category. All the rows are retrieved, all the columns are retrieved from all the rows, all columns are retrieved, and one by one we can display them here. So using this command, using this method, now we display it. So whenever it is 2, we call that. Whenever choice equal to 2, we are going to call that. Let us run here this application. Display, enter 2 here. It says 10,000, 1,000, 1,001, 1,002, then printing like that. So last one is not showing anything. Reason, it's a null value. Since it's null value, it can't display anything for us. Since it's null value, you cannot get anything. So it's going to be showing simply empty for us. So it's going to show simply empty for us. Therefore, it will not display anything for us. This is what exactly 1,000, books 0, 1,001, footwear 0, that is level is 0. When you look at the 1,002, it is here comics 1. So it is belonging to books category. So therefore it prints there 1,000. Super category ID is available for 1,002, but for 1,001 and 1,000 it's not available. Therefore it can't print any super category ID. It does not print any super category ID there since it was missing. Even if you look in the database, here you can't get the super category ID. They are going to be null. When they are null, it's not printing anything. So you can here format and appropriately even you can print there. Press 3, come out from this. Let us come to the code. In this code, we try to handle that. What code we have written here? We are retrieving all the things one by one. We are trying to display. Okay, one by one, we are trying to display it. So whenever we are trying to write it, before this, we can put into. Okay, here otherwise, you can specify like this. Yes, we have a class called as dbnull dot okay. You can compare like this here. Third object we take here in this. Here we write equals dbnull dot value. In such cases, we use a question mark operator. Then root level category we put like this. Root level put like this. Otherwise, we specify here the category name there. Object reader of 3, then followed by dot toString. We can specify like this. So if it is a null value, in such cases it prints root level. Otherwise, it's going to be printing here for us the category name, category ID. It can be printing for us. It says in this what root level, root level. It's going to say this as here root level. Since that is null value, so whenever it's not null value, it's going to be printing 1,000 for us. It's going to be printing 1,000 for us. So there is a class called as dbnull. Using dbnull, we can find out whether there is a null value or not. What we do, whatever value we are retrieving from the table, we are comparing with the null value. Here, object reader of 3 double equal to dbnull dot value. So if it's dbnull, then what we print here, root level. Otherwise, we try to print it as the original value. Whatever it is, we try to print. So using this particular method, we are retrieving data and displaying it on the screen. On screen, we are displaying. Any questions on this, please? This is very important. Just try to discuss on this, please. Mansoor, you have any questions on this?
Yes. One second.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, I have some questions, but so what you explained that the SQL injection. So as SQL injection, are you hearing me? Sorry.
Yes, Mansoor, please.
Okay. First, my question is about the SQL injection.
Yes.
If we not close, like you see obj reader dot close.
Yes.
So if we not do that, then it's the leakage of the data, and the hackers can hide that because of it's not closed properly.
It is nothing to do with SQL injection. Object reader is nothing to do with SQL injection. SQL injection is related to inline SQL queries, I am saying. In this case, here you give command. How you are giving command here in the previous case, insert into you have given like this. So this may give you a problem with the SQL injection. It's not with the data reader. See, if you don't close data reader, what happens here is connection cannot be used by somebody else, because reader is what exactly SQL data reader is. It's a using connected mechanism. As long as reader is not closed, the connection cannot be used by somebody else. When you are working with the web, what happens? SQL Server always has limited connections. It can support only few users. So when you take a particular instance, it can support only few users. So when a user is trying to retrieve data, once user retrieve data, it should be closed connection so others can use. In the internet, resources are always limited when you take web applications. If object reader.close is here, if you close the reader object, what happens? No longer connection is going to be opened with this. So automatically somebody else can use it. If you don't close reader, connection cannot be closed because reader is still open. As long as reader is open, connection also is going to be opened. So once you close reader, you can close the connection. Without closing reader, if you try to close also, there can be problem. So that's why as soon as you finish doing with the reader, you have to close it. Reader closing and SQL injection both are different concepts. SQL injection is related to only SQL queries. When you put here SQL queries like this, so when you are putting here plain text data, insert it to TBL category like this, you are putting plain text data. With that, even the people also, they can know about your database structure, table names. So they can put some kind of query at the end with the data can be deleted. How that is, I'll show you. Here, what I do, I create some sample table, one more table. I put like this, create table, followed by here, TBL text, put like this here. Then inside this, I put ID, INT, then this is data. I want to make this as varchar 100. Like this I can put. So now here in this, I can set few data also. I can insert some data into this. The data may be inserted into TBL temp it is. I can enter values. It may be 100, then followed by some data. I enter like this. So this way, I try to enter data. This data now inserted into database. Okay, so this is some important data you assume. Now what I do from this query while inserting data, here at the end of this, I may be appending something. So here this is exactly toString I have written, then followed by, before this what I do, okay, after this I put like this. What I do, delete From table name is what TBL temp I put like this. I can put something like this, delete from TBL temp. What happens with that insertion C? Now right now what is the data available in this? If you come with this, if you come to this, then select data, select star from TBL temp. It can display some data for us. Execute, you have 100 of data. Like this, it is displaying data for us. But when you call now, here, the first one, whatever data you had in the temporary table, that can be deleted. Now let me execute. So insert data, one I put here. Enter category name. So what are the different type of data we saw so far in this? Select star from categories. We saw comics. Okay, then I try to put into here. First thing is category name. Enter here, please enter category name fiction. I say here fiction, and category level is going to be 1. The next thing is here. We have a super cat ID for this. I put yes. So what is super category ID is? It is going to be 1000. I want to put this as here 1000. I enter here 1000. Now category added successfully, it says. Now come to the SQL Server. Here try to select data from temp table. From this try to select data. Now this is skipping. Now data is not available. See Mansur?
Yes.
So internally such things can be happening. Automatically data will be deleted.
Okay.
There is a problem with the SQL injection. You should not be using inline SQL queries for that. See, if I know the table structure, automatically I can go inside that with the help of this SQL queries. I can append something like this here. Delete from TBL temp. If I put like this, it can be deleting. See, the coder cannot be writing like this. It is a web application. In the case of web application, you are inputting some data using text box. So in the text box, what you do, you enter data, you put a semicolon, then after that you try to give the command, whatever command you have, delete command you give. Then in that case, it can be deleted. Here this is hard coded, but this can be occurring from the text box. In the text box, you may be entering some criteria. So after entering criteria, what you do, you put a semicolon, then followed by you give a delete command. With that, it can be getting deleted. So therefore, this part is called as here SQL injection. We are inserting some SQL command with this inline SQL. Mahmood, understood this point here?
Okay.
Understood this concept here? What is SQL injection?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Vincent, you understood this?
Okay. And my one more question.
Yes. Yes, Mansur.
Okay. So if we use the store procedure for the best practice, is a store procedure is better than the query one which you had shown yesterday or today as well?
Today I have shown you. Yesterday I was showing you SQL query. You can write it straight away. But today's thing is what exactly? It is a stored procedure we are using. It's always good practice to use procedures. We have written very simple procedure. It's only one line statement.
And one.
Yes. Yes, please.
And there is one in the database. There is one type is image. All right, data type.
Yes.
So data type. When we use the data type image, we use boundary image in it, or we use the path in it.
Okay, can you repeat, please? It's not path. No, it's not meant for images. Image meaning is not image. It's not for the JPG, BMP, not those things. Image meaning is here binary format.
binary format. Oh, okay, okay, binary format. Okay, okay, okay. That's got it. I got it.
Normally, I mean, what we think whenever we look at the image, it is going to be some kind of image you are going to put in database. So image is going to be some kind of binary format only. So image meaning is here binary format. Instead of image, we can use var binary.
Okay, okay.
Var binary, you can save.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You have like this varchar, your varchar, and other thing is nvarchar, and one more thing is here what?
Yeah.
Binary. Like this we have.
Yeah.
These varchar max we can use.
Okay.
Varchar max we can use up to 2 GB, and nvarchar max we can use. This can be up to how much? 1 GB, because every character requires 2 bytes up to 1 GB. In the case of var binary also, you can use up to 2 GB. When you have a file up to 2 GB file, you can save in one record in the database. So var binary is basically meant for binary data, something like pictures, or say sometimes even we say PDF file, or sometimes it is going to be like sound file, a movie file. Such things when you want to save, you can use var binary. Okay, varchar also we can use.
Oh,
okay. Plain text file, in such cases you can use varchar.
Okay, okay. That's okay. That's all. That's all I need to know. Thank you.
So in this, we are using a procedure. With the help of procedure, we are trying to invoke it. And values may be null values. This is another point, important point here. Whenever you retrieve data from this, here sometimes columns misses the values. You will not be having any columns. So the columns may be having null values. When it's null value, then how you show them on the screen? Null cannot be shown on the screen. Therefore, here I use this feature. Object reader of 3, if that equal to db null dot value, I am printing it as root level. Just printing it as root level. Otherwise, I can print it object reader of 3.2 string. I can convert to string and I can show. So like this, we are trying to list all the rows on the screen. Once again, let us run. So this time we go with the display data. It is displaying all the data for us: 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003. Like this, we are going to be retrieving it. We can retrieve with the help of the data reader here. Using data reader, we could retrieve it. So here, data reader object we have retrieved like this. At the same time, if we want to retrieve it, using data adapter, still you can retrieve. So for that purpose, I write same code, but I want to save it as XML file. I come into this point, then here like to save it as XML file. One more method I try to define here. Another method I define here. First I close this one. Retrieve and display. Retrieve and save categories to XML. Like this, I want to create some XML file. Therefore, this time I can use, instead of using here a reader, I can use adapter in this. At the same time, I can use the data set mechanism. I can use the data set. I was talking about data set. Yesterday I was talking about data set. As far as ADO.NET is concerned, we have these things here. A data set, then other one is data table, then inside the table data columns are available, then data rows are available for us. This one is in-memory database we say. Data set is nothing but mini database which you can maintain in the memory. So data set is going to be in the XML format. Whatever data you have in the data set is going to be in the XML format. You can retrieve data from the database and you can put into data set. From the data set, you can manipulate them. Similarly, you can be saving into even XML file. So same thing we are going to do now. Data set is nothing but in-memory database. So with the help of adapter, you can be getting connected to databases. From databases, you can retrieve data and you can keep in the data set. We use here adapter. Reason, data set is a common format. It is called as diffgram and it's going to be the XML format. You may be getting data from any kind of database. Probably it's from Excel file, or it may be from a SQL Server database table, or can be from Oracle database. It can be from any data source. You can retrieve data and you can retrieve and you can put into data set. When you put in the data set, it's going to be in the XML format. That is called as diffgram. And when you look at data set, it contains here inside that data tables. Every data table contains data rows. Even here also you can establish relationship between the tables. Since it is a mini database, I can say it as mini database. It is just replication of the database which we have on the disk. But here it's not going to be depending on any particular type of database. It is neutral database we say, and it's called as in-memory database. It is going to be in the diffgram format. It's not taking here Oracle structure, or it's not taking here SQL Server structure or MySQL structure. It does not take any particular database structure. So it's going to be having its own format. It's called as diffgram. So now what we do, we get connected to SQL Server database. From SQL Server database, we retrieve data and try to put into data set. So automatically the tables are created in that, columns are also created, rows also they get created. So automatically it is going to take care. We create a data set. So the data set we populate with the help of the adapter here. So adapter is a mechanism. With the help of that, different types of data you can bring and you can put into data set. Data set is going to be a common format. It is going to be the XML format. It's going to be XML format. So data can be coming from any source, from a XML file, or it may be from Excel file, or it can be coming from the SQL Server, or it may be coming from Oracle, or it may be coming from MongoDB kind of thing. It can be coming from anywhere. It is going to be having XML format. So that is called as here data set. We have a data set. We retrieve data from the data set, from the database tables, and we can put into data set here. So data set, data table, data column, data row, like this it has got a hierarchy. Okay, it has got hierarchy. So far we have seen three different classes. One is connection, second thing is command, one more thing is what reader. So using connection, we open connection with database using proper server name and instance name of the SQL Server in this. It can be same with Oracle, MySQL, whatever it may be. So you need to use in such cases appropriate database connection mechanisms. In the case of Oracle or MySQL, you use OLEDB, with that you can get connected. Now similarly, with the help of SQL command, we can execute a command. Command may be plain SQL command, or it may be a stored procedure. It can be stored procedure, or it can be plain SQL command. Okay. Then with the help of the data reader, SQL data reader, we retrieve data and one by one we are iterating over the rows. So we are iterating from each and every row, we are retrieving data. The SQL data reader is going to be quite fast, but as long as you are reading data, we cannot close connection, because this is connection oriented. It requires connection open, then only SQL data reader can be working. So by closing connection, if you try to perform some operation with SQL data reader, it cannot do. Okay, so SQL data reader is what here? Connection oriented. So as long as connection is open, it can work. But once you close connection, it can't work because there is no connection open. So this is what exactly connection intensive operation. You need to open connection, then only you can use the SQL data reader. But it's going to be quite fast, and it is only meant for reading data. It's forward scrolling, it's only meant for reading data. Now we have one more class called as SQL data adapter. With the help of the data adapter, we can perform two-way operations. One is retrieving data from the database. Second one, even you can update data in the database. From the data set, you can be updating data in the database. You can perform in two ways. So first you fetch data into your local system, into your memory. You can bring that. Then whatever operations you want to perform on that, you can perform. At the end, you can write back to server. So with the help of the disconnect mechanism, you retrieve data from the database, keep in your local memory. Then after that, perform operations on the database. You can write back to the original database. Like that, we can be using data set. Data set is actually a disconnected mechanism. So initially you get connect with database, whatever data you require, you bring into memory, into the data set, then on that you can perform various operations. So like that data set uses here disconnected mechanism. So once you fetch data, you need not keep the connection open. But data set is going to be heavy when compared with the SQL data reader. SQL data reader requires memory and the database connection must be opened for SQL data reader. But when you look at the data set, you need not open connection, but more RAM is required in this. Because data set is a mini database, it's a huge object. So if it's a must, then only you should use it. Always these database operations, with a lot of caution, you have to use. Under no condition, you should waste the resources. Because many users, they may be trying to access database. So therefore, you have to keep others in the mind. Accordingly, you have to write the code. So therefore, here, data reader can be quite fast, but it requires connection to be opened always. As long as you are reading with the data reader, you need to keep the connection opened. But in the case of data set, you need not keep the connection open. Here, at one time only, you can fetch data into memory, but you require more and more memory resources. In the case of data set, maintains here hierarchy. Data set contains data tables. Data tables can be containing data columns. Data columns can be containing data table. Further can be containing rows there. So every data table contains rows, and each and every row is divided into number of columns. Like this maintains a hierarchy. A database table, a database if you take, it contains tables. Tables contains rows. Every row you divide into columns. How you do in the normal RDBMS? Same thing we do here, but here format for the data set is here diffgram. The format is going to be diffgram here. It's not any proprietary database format in this. It's a general format called as diffgram. It's meant for it's basically XML format. So now with the help of the adapter, we are going to retrieve data. Using SQL data adapter, we retrieve data and put into data set. So here I create a data set. Data set ds equal to new data set. I make like this. Data set. Then here I put the name retail DB. I can put like this, the name of the data set. Now here I should be retrieving data. For this purpose, command type is going to be here. Select star from TBL category. So I retrieve here data from the category table, and it's not stored procedure. You can make this as here text. I can just make it as text. So data set ds I created. Next I should create here adapter. SQL data adapter, object adapter is equal to new SQL data adapter, followed by we can give here a command, a connection, then here we can use this way. So here SQL command I use, object cmd I can use. Using this command, then we need to here, because command is connected to connection, so we need not specify anything separately, the connection here. We created like this. Go with the try block. In the try block, and here it is catch exception ex. In the same way, we put finally. In the finally, we specify this. So in the finally, on the top, whatever we kept, we just keep same thing. And finally we put like this. Okay, here we can specify the XML file name. String, it is here, str XML file. Into XML file name we need to save it. Now here we try to open object adapter. Before that connection must be opened. Obj-con, then dot open. We open connection. Once connection is opened, we can write into the XML file here. So object adapter dot, this time fill. We can use here fill mechanism. We use fill. With the help of fill, we can be filling it. So these are different features available. Let us try to set here DS. Data set we set. After this, we can be saving it now. We can save the file like ds.write.xml. We have here write.xml. Into XML file, we can be writing it. File name is for us strxml file. We take strxml file, then here try to save. So we can write into XML file here, then here write console.writeLine. XML file is created. So this message we give here. Now with the help of this, we retrieve data from the table and put into data set. The data set can be saved as a file here. Come to the third option here. There is no third option. Now we need to make a third option in this. Display data. Here for third option, put it as save to XML. Like this we make it. So after this we have here option 3, option 4, exit. Then this is once again /n we put. 1 through 4 we need to have here. Selection not equal to 4, put like this. If it is not equal to 4, invalid option. So we take else if choice equal to 3, try to put this. So this is here dot retrieve and save categories to XML. We need to specify here file name. So file name, just want to give some string str file name. Here it is desktop file name I try to take. On the desktop I want to save it, I just hard code in this. Go to hard code. So go with the properties here. This is the path. Here try to set. Here I can use verbatim string. This is better always. Then followed by here cats.xml. Put like this. The file name is cats.xml that I want to save now. str file name, take it, put in this area. So XML file must be created for us with this. When you take option 3, it has to be XML file. We need to get here XML file as option. When we enter 4, we have to come out from that. So this is exactly retrieving data using adapter, then followed by saving into XML file. We try to save into XML file with the help of this third method. retrieve and save categories to XML. Now I take here option 3. XML file is created. Press enter key to continue. It's giving like this. Go with the fourth option. Come to the file. Come to this and see here. There should be XML file for us which got created. So CATS file is available. Let us open this. Open with the notepad. It is showing like this. Whatever database name I gave, it's coming here. Retail DB, table. So cat ID, cat name, cat level, again table, cat ID, cat name, cat level. Like this, it's retrieving all the 4 values and trying to show for us like this. Wherever there is null value, it's not taking, but whenever you don't have null value, whenever you are not having null value, that is taken and shown here. So like this, what is happening? It can retrieve data from the database, and one by one rows are retrieved here with the help of adapter. Then that is saved into XML format. Like XML file automatically we could save. Here database name is what? Retail DB. We gave that name for the data set there. So whatever name we gave, with that a root element is created. In this we have chained elements, table, table, table like this. You have here one table data, cat ID, cat name, cat level. Each and every field is taken as one node here. Like this multiple times the table node is coming here. Like this data is shown. So like XML file we could save data. We retrieve data from the database, then we convert it to XML file and we are displaying like this here. So with the help of adapter, we can bring at one time only all the data into database table and into data set. Then we can display it. Further, when we come into this, we can even find out how many rows are available in this. How many rows are available? We can find here. Right, console dot write line, console dot write line. Here in this, we display number of tables equal to, put here 0, then followed by, in this we specify ds dot tables dot count. How many tables are available in this? We can be finding here. ds dot tables dot count we have here. With the help of this, it can be counted. How many tables are available? You can find out there. Similarly, we can take the table, how many columns are available? We can find even. Console dot write line. Then here, number of columns in table 1, because this is table 1 only, equal to, we take 0, then followed by, we can print it. ds dot tables of 0 this is, followed by dot columns you have here, columns, then dot count. With the help of this we can be counting even number of columns. Even columns can be counted. Like this we can show it. So this way we are going to use the adapter class. With adapter class we retrieve data and we bind into data set. So then data set can be saved as XML file. I take here option 3. What it says, number of tables equal to 1, number of columns in table 1 equal to 4 it is, XML file is created. Like this it's giving for us information. So from the database you can retrieve data into data set, then later on data set can be saved as XML file. You can save as XML file here. Further, if you want to add any other category, that also can be added here. If you want to add more columns can be added and can be saved to XML file here. Right now it's printing this. Now next thing what I do here, I can go like this, data row, here dr equal to, I can do like this, ds dot tables of 0, then dot, I put like new row. I can be retrieving a new row from this. I can retrieve here a new row. I can be getting a new row here. So once I get new row, I can be adding here dr of, so I can be taking a value 0 equal to, I can put a new category ID. What are the category values we have in this? 1003. I can be putting here some 1004. I can put 1004 here. Then similarly, dr of 1 is equal to, I can set like, this will be here, category name. So dr of 1 equal to, here this also, in the double quotes, I put dr of 1 equal to, this can be, say this is adventure. Okay, then dr of 2 equal to subcategory, this is category level 1, we put here, followed by dr of 3, this equal to, here it is. So what we are going to set here, it is 1000. It comes under category, like this we have set. Now this we can add to the tables. ds dot tables of 0, then dot rows we can use here, rows dot add, we can be adding new row here. What is the row exactly? It is here dr. A new row can be added here, data row it is. A new row can be added here. We use this as add. A new row is getting added here. After that, we save it to XML file. If you look at this now, the XML file is containing, come to this point. The XML file is containing for us, if you open this here with Notepad, it's containing only total 1, 2, 3, 4 rows you contain in this. But now when we add one more will be coming, that's going to be 1004 for us. 1004 can be created. So inside the memory, you are trying to manipulate it. Go with the 3. Now it says number of tables equal to 1, number of columns in table 1 equal to 4. XML file is created. Press any key to continue. Then exit. If you open the XML file now, you find here one more column, one more row is added here. That row is okay. Row is not added. Just a minute. ds dot tables of 0 dot rows dot add, dr I have added here. And after that, okay, dr I have taken, I added the rows, tables of 0, then dot add dr, new row I created, even I added. After that, when I try to save, why it is not saving? Okay. Okay, we do regarding this tomorrow. Why it is happening like this, I tell you tomorrow. So, but this is going to be what exactly? Data adapter. Other thing is here, data reader. With the help of data reader, we are reading. In the case of data adapter, we are retrieving all the table into data set. Then we saved as here XML file. We could save like XML file here. So, data adapter uses disconnected mechanism. Data reader is going to be using here connected mechanism. So, using command object, either you can be retrieving rows using SQL queries, inline SQL queries, or you can use the procedures, stored procedures. But using stored procedures is always a best practice when compared with the writing inline SQL queries. So with inline SQL queries, there is a possibility of actually having a SQL injection, injected SQL injected into your code. So therefore, you have to be very careful with the inline SQL queries. So whenever you expose it to the public, at that time it must be through stored procedure. Internally, you can write inline SQL queries, no problem. But whenever it is exposed to public, that means to general public through web, at that time you must be using only stored procedures. You cannot use there the inline SQL queries. Technically it may be working, but that is dangerous because people may delete data or they may tamper with your database, they may drop tables. This happened with us some time back, some 7 years before. We made one site called as m2mpremier.com. We made a site that is the Chicago based company, specialty publishing house. For them we created one application called as m2mpremier.com. So that's basically means for M2M, machine to machine, machine to man, man to man. It's related to some technology innovation. So it was in 2007 we made. At that time, this problem we faced a number of times because this code we did not write from scratch. Somebody already has developed code for that. On that we gave some extensions. We gave extension. So we were told not to alter any database. There were no primary keys. There were no foreign keys in the database. There was everything inline SQL query. Because of that, they faced so many problems. Technically, that was very bad design, but we could, of course, solve the problem of SQL injection by finding out who is causing those nonsense things, and we, whenever any incoming request is coming, we could handle at that time. If it's some deletion or insertion, if it's a valid operation, then only we allowed it. Otherwise, we actually stopped it. But we struggled a lot to stop the SQL injection. So like that, writing inline SQL queries can be dangerous. So if possible, we should avoid the SQL injection. Wherever it's possible, we should be writing, we should be avoiding writing such inline SQL queries. Don't write inline SQL queries wherever it's possible. So try to use only procedures. They can, in fact, better actually because they provide the required security, and network bandwidth also decreases with the help of the stored procedures. Only you send data can be inserted or retrieved or updated. So with the help of those procedures. But if you use inline SQL queries, there is a possibility of somebody attaching the SQL injection code to your query. So that can be disastrous. So always try to practice with the stored procedures. Try to write few procedures like this. TSQL procedures you try to write. Tomorrow we can discuss on the TSQL procedures. Further we can do. You require coverage of more and more any SQL related thing like TSQL. Shall I discuss more on the TSQL? Do you require it? Mahmood, how good you are with the SQL Server, TSQL?
Yeah, I have it. I have 2012 on my laptop.
No, I mean with the SQL, I'm asking about the SQL commands, then writing procedures, writing triggers, writing functions. So do you require more exposure on that? Shall I show more examples on those things? Is it needed?
Oh no. It's not needed. I understand. Most of it is like simple select statements.
Yes.
Creating tables, inserting into tables. All that is pretty common.
What about you, Mansoor?
I'm fine. Yeah, I know the I'm okay with the procedure and the PLSQL commands, so I'm fine with that.
PLSQL is slightly different from TSQL.
That's okay.
This PLSQL is slightly different from TSQL. So PLSQL is steps as far as syntax is concerned. It's very strict PLSQL, but TSQL is liberal a little bit. Here we use only transact SQL commands. With the help of that, we try to write procedures, triggers, and functions. Try to use, and yeah, they are required here. Vincent, are you good with the SQL Server?
I'm okay.
Okay. Thank you then. So
sorry.
Fine.